This is Elias Tufexes. You're watching That Tom Clancy Show.
Thank you, Elias, and welcome to another brand new episode of That Tom Clancy Show. I am, of course, your lovable robot in a hoodie host, Mr. That Tom Clancy. So, welcome everybody. It is so good to see all of you here today in chat. We have a really cool show for you planned for you today. But real quick before we get going, of course, there's all the wonderful news that Oculus Connect is now called Facebook Connect. That's wonderful. And then, of course, how Oculus Studios is being called like Facebook Reality Works or whatever. Also, really, really, really wonderful. Really looking forward to Facebook controlling our virtual future because that's going to be really, really fun. Yeah, you know, Chroma, it's absolutely not. I don't know if I was laying the sarcasm on thick enough there, but no, it's gonna be freaking terrible because the last thing I need. But then again, I don't use Oculus hardware, so for me, it's less of an issue. But either way, that's not really what we're here to talk about today. Instead, just over here, I've got a couple of cool guests. Now, my guests today are two people who very clearly own cats or work with people that own lots of cats. Bits and Pixels, please join me in welcoming Stu and Trace from Playfellow Studios. Stu, Trace, welcome to the show.
Hey, Tom, thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, normally the first question I would ask in this instance is, hey, what games are you guys playing? But before that, I do have to ask, how many cats do you own?
I'm the cat owner here. I have one cat currently.
Okay.
This cat traveled from the East Coast with me up to Seattle, Washington. But I had another cat recently who's living with one of my friends. So I had two recently, currently have one. The most I've ever had was 5. So it is a revolving door of cats that live with me. But yeah.
All right,
currently
cool.
one.
You've got
I
me
don't-
beat, so I feel good because we have 4.
Okay.
You have 4 cats. Wow.
Yeah, one of them is actually sitting off camera on another armchair.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My sausage is currently very comfy in my bed, so I'm not gonna disturb him right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Yeah, no.
I mean,
I
I
don't have
disturb
any
sleeping
pets.
cats all the time. But I also have several scars running up and down my arm as well. So
I have a couple battle scars.
it happens. So real quick, brief tangent. You said East Coast, Trace. Whereabouts?
North Carolina is where I am originally from, but we met while in university at Savannah College of Art and Design.
Okay.
And yep.
Yeah, I'm a Marylander originally, so like I'm always kind of hoping that whenever anybody says East Coast, that they're all like, "Oh yeah, I grew up in Maryland."
Yeah, unfortunately, no.
Well, it's still fine. North Carolina's a fine state. I've almost lived there at least once. So
Oh, yeah.
tried to get some jobs there, but it didn't work out. I'm not gonna say who it was.
I can imagine. I could take a guess.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that one out.
Probably not.
But
I got it.
Yeah.
Squanch Tendo, right?
Yes,
Yeah, actually, dude.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, I have a couple
They're
friends
really cool.
that work there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
real quick in
No,
chat.
I met a couple of them. They're really cool.
Yeah. They seem like a really weird company to work for, and I'd be down if you're listening.
Same.
But
If you're listening.
yeah, if they're listening, they're not listening. Real quick though, just to say hi to Chroma and Dark Mist in chat. Thank you both for coming out today. Now to start the interview proper. This is a question that I've been asking, well, literally everyone on the show, because it's a question that literally everyone can answer. But aside from, Fisti-Fluffs, the game that you're both working on, what are you playing?
I mean, I don't think it's a surprise to hear Fall Guys.
No,
that's
not at
everywhere. Yeah, I mean, it's very fun. It's very, very good. It making something that's physics-based, focused more for parties, is also good. Kind of like to see other companies doing it, and that's kind of the main draw for me currently. Just like oh, it's inspiring and like there are some cool ideas here. But it is just absurdly fun and very well made. So that's the main thing. Stuart, if there's any, I'm thinking if there are any others that I've been poking
Games. What games am I playing? That's a really interesting question. Let's see. I was doing some charcoal pencil yesterday. That's a really riveting game.
It can be.
A lot of Autodesk Maya and some Photoshop.
I
So
can't
just
say
work.
what I was doing in Maya earlier today, but I was working in Maya this morning as well.
Yeah,
Exciting.
I mean,
One of those things is actually, let me just move it. It's slightly on camera there. Will be making an appearance later on in the episode. The other thing will be showing up next week.
Okay.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, next week I'm hitting my 50th episode, and so I'm like,
Congratulations.
thank you. I'm busting out like a whole new set and everything for it. So
Okay. Cool.
That's super cool.
it's the garage is lovely, don't get me wrong. I love this space. It's not going anywhere. But it's just, I feel that it's time to become slightly more professional and get like a
Yeah.
Hey,
slightly
you know
more
what, man? I
professional
lived
looking
and
space.
worked on this company out of a garage in San Francisco for a whole year. So,
Yeah.
hey, man, I get the garage life.
Yeah, the
It's
garage life is
very
nice.
charming.
Yeah.
Very charming. Yeah.
And I'll get back.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'll get back to games in a second, but I did want to ask, so you're talking about, did you model the whole garage? Like this is all.
No.
Okay.
The only thing in this set that actually counts as like something that I modeled in Maya is the head. Everything else is from and also the picture frame in the back. But
Yeah.
that took a lot of work.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Oh no, we lost video there. Give me a second as I look at my ceiling and fix the video problem.
Oh,
No.
my tablet went to sleep. So
Oh
Ha.
no.
He's back.
He's
an eye on
my back.
There we
Sorry,
go.
guys. I'll work on that.
No.
I'll tell it not to go to sleep.
Tiny head. Oh no, Big
Yeah.
Stu. He's taken over. You took
Whatever.
over my body.
You're in the khaki shirt now for the time being.
Yeah.
It'll fix
no
itself when
problem.
he comes back. I think.
Yeah. Let me tell it to not sleep.
All right. Well, don't worry. My perfectly functional laptop right here will let me know when it gets all sorted back out, and then I'll get everything back fixed with my ceiling control scheme.
Does anybody know how to use a tablet, an iPad? Because I don't.
Not for Discord. I usually use mine for Netflix and reading. All right. There we go.
You're
back.
I'm just gonna every once in a while just poke the screen and make sure it doesn't sleep on me.
I mean, hey, whatever works, right?
Yeah. Well, I think it'll work. Yeah. So
nice.
I'm not playing any games right now.
Hey, that's perfectly fine. Like you're doing other artistic endeavors. Like, dude, I wish I could draw in charcoal.
Oh yeah.
So
it wasn't like I was doing like a beautiful render or something. I was like, we have some secrets we're not allowed to talk about, but effectively I drew like 200 to 400 straight lines, like actual straight lines, like a millimeter apart from each other for like 2 hours. It was actually, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
It was something I requested because we're doing some fun shader work, and I was like, "Hey, Stu, make this for me."
Dude, I hate shaders.
I love
I'm not saying like I hate them from like an enthusiast or a player standpoint, but like as a developer, because my expertise lies in building spaces like this and coming up with first implementation on systems that programmers can then make better. So like you asked me to make a shader and I'm just like, no. I'm just like, no, and I hate you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel completely opposite, but I do kind of get it to a degree. There are certain parts where when I'm developing, I'm just like, please no. I'm uh, Stuart and I both are artists, and I was initially 3D art or illustration 3D artist turned programmer out of necessity. Just I wanted to make my own games, so I just self-taught what I needed to know, and in that kind of the gateway into it was shader writing, and
Mhm.
love I still and so taking a break away from like core systems, bug fixes, all normal development stuff, just to dive into shaders for a little bit was like, this is beautiful. And even though it's there are certain parts where it's like, why does this math not work? And then you'll accidentally be like, that is the opposite of what I wanted to do.
Well,
But it
yeah.
just is,
So we touched on it a little bit ago. We also are using Unreal 4, and I
yes.
mean, if you're trying to write shaders in Unity, I mean, I would strangle somebody. I'm
mean,
with you, Tom.
No, I mean Amplify is fun. Amplify is really good. That's what I probably would use. Shader Forge was really good. I know it was discontinued. I don't think it's still being. I think it's still open source now. But and I haven't used Unity's built-in visual
Yeah, I
scripter.
hear that
But
they're doing some
there's
good
one in it
stuff on
now.
that. Yeah,
But yeah, I've used
but Unreal
Amplify though.
hasn't changed. It's still been just as good as it was. I mean, even in UDK Unreal 3, it was still pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
It's a little annoying. Every other version, they just seem to have a random node they want to change the name of,
That's
just
true.
for whatever reason. So if you're like upgrading certain versions, there are just times where shaders are like, we broke because this is a different function now, and I'm like,
Why?
why?
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Another thing too that I find when following tutorials as not a technical artist is if you don't expressly hear them say something like scalar parameter or something in there,
Mhm.
and then you're all just like, wait, what is a 0,1 node?
Yeah,
Like
Oh.
how do I put this in here? And no, that's just a vector
And-
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it does kind of, especially someone who is doing something very specific like that, there'll be a certain kind of jargon that doesn't translate to like general developing and programming.
Yeah.
Where like, I mean, I like because I've created just like custom functions for like through the custom node before, and I'll make my own like sobble or something, and it just is like use the sobble node. It's like, well, there isn't one, but like,
I broke it to
so
make something different.
yeah,
Oh, yeah. We ran into that quite a bit yesterday. We made some cool
yeah,
stuff because of it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, sometimes some of the coolest things are the accidents.
Totally.
Like going back to, geez, what was it? Probably like 4.4, 4.5 with Unreal. I was trying to, because I suck at lighting. And so I was trying to figure out how to light scenes, and I was like, oh, well, if I just plug the white channel of my materials into the emissive, it's just going to bathe everything in light and it's going to be great. And no, I just ended up making Tron hallways.
That's
Yeah.
But then I had
you
Tron
know,
hallways.
that's
Yeah.
exactly what we have done for all of our games. We have very minimal
We-
lighting,
Yeah.
and we tug on an emissive for almost everything. And
Yeah. Well, we'll depending on like what we're shooting for a PC where we have more like ability for resources, we tug on a missive just to get like some really cool like light shadow work where things are just generally unlit, but you get like a little bit and you can do some cool stuff with it. So yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. For everyone out there in internet land, lighting games sucks.
oh, that's
Yeah.
your opinion, man.
No, it sucks. No, lighting.
It's
Lighting.
expensive,
Yeah.
and that's why
Yeah.
it sucks. Because, like, I'm a huge fan of virtual reality. If you couldn't tell, and it's
No. What?
nothing makes VR performance drag like non-optimized lighting.
Yep.
And it's like I've started dipping my toe into VR chat to an extent, and like, man, you see all these people who just like throw just lights all over the place, and you're pulling like 30 frames, and it's just terrible.
Mm.
Oof. Yeah, Yeah, I
Bounce
actually
cards.
unrelated to Fisti-Fluffs, but I actually have taught VR programming before, and that's one thing that is like it's difficult to get people to like step away from, because people with just like a general 3D environment and 3D setup knowledge, like they're like, oh, I want to make it look really pretty. It's like there are very specific things that you need to keep in mind, because
Not
light and
everybody's
lighting.
running a pair of RTX Titans in
No.
SLI
Yep.
with
64
i9
gigs of RAM.
Wait,
10900Ks.
you guys aren't?
I mean, like, if
No, just
you
kidding.
are,
I'm not.
that's
I'm not either.
awesome. But some of us
No.
only have
One of our
our
No, we're
programmers
not.
has dual Titans, and his machine
Yeah.
is a beast.
Yeah, well,
Not-
I mean, for a programmer that makes a level of sense, because they have to crank out builds and compile the whole project.
That's mostly me. I don't have dual Titans. I have 960. I actually kind of like having
A
a
benchmark
moderate, like a moderate card that's not like it's not high end, it's not low end, so I can keep like if I'm starting to dip under 60, I'm like, okay, that's not good. Like
Yeah.
that's gonna
Yeah.
hit low end pretty bad.
That
Yeah.
that is some Blizzard philosophy there, and I dig it.
Sick.
Yeah,
I-
across
yeah.
all of our platforms on our team, we have a pretty broad range of graphics and processing. So, you
Yep.
know, one of our guys has, this 2013 machine hand built, and, it's good for us to test. He's on our debug team, and it's
Mhm.
good for us to test on his machine so that we know what older machines are, or how they're going to respond to it. And,
Mhm.
we've got our guy with dual Titans, and we can, see
Yeah.
what it looks like there. And my machine's kind of in the middle of the road there. It's like a 2017 1070 with just whatever else in it. And so, yeah, we do have a pretty good broad range of what all is. What just happened there?
Ed Boy, one of the programmers, the
It's me. It
programmer
is. I'm
that
so
Yeah,
sorry.
I was
in
gonna
chat.
wait for a little like a small moment in break in conversation to bring that up, but Edmund, if you like ever trying to figure out what to do with that second Titan since SLI isn't like a huge thing right now, I have an excellent PC where that would be right at home. Yeah,
I'll let him get back to you on that one.
Yeah. We're using it at the moment.
No.
It's indisposed right now. But...
Yeah.
I mean, I shouldn't really complain. I built 2 years ago, so I have a 2080. So, not a TI, but still a 2080 is an excellent card.
Oh yeah. Oh, great.
So, oh man, it was so nice. Like the last game that, like the last single player game I played was Jedi Fallen Order. And man, playing that in 21:9 at 60 frames is just like...
I love 21:9. Oh my gosh.
Stuart's big
I don't
wide
have
screen.
one. I had a 21:9 ultra wide a couple years ago when I was working in Chicago, and while I was living at my mom and dad's apartment when I was working as an artist at Netherrealm Studio on Injustice 2, and I had this really, really cool screen at home.
Wait. When were you in Chicago? Like what year range?
1996 to 2012, and then the year of 2017.
Okay. Trying to think if no. Well, I mean, we definitely had overlap. I've been in Chicago for like 6-7 years.
Oh, cool.
Dude, love that town. But a friend of mine.
Different feelings, but yeah.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you basically grew up there.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. I mean, it's a cool place and it's a cool city, and I don't want to say anything bad about it, but the weather is terrible, and the politics are just disgusting, and the city doesn't spend its money on the roads, and so you just get all these. I mean, and Rod Blagojevich is. I don't even want to go there, but yeah, I mean, there's charm in the city, and
the food is excellent.
He sold off Obama's
Senate seat, yeah, and then he went to prison for it.
He got sent to jail for 8 years, and after 4 years, or for like 16 years, and after 8 years, Donald Trump gave him the presidential pardon, and now he's out through half of his sentence. Like I said, I did not want to go into it because it's pretty gross.
Welcome to the game development podcast.
Welcome to the game development podcast where we
talk
talk
about
Illinois
politics.
politics. Dude, and the funny thing is, like, just real brief aside on this, and I can tie this into game dev, because last month on Pitch Your Game, when I reached out to you guys, I reached out to another game that I unfortunately never heard back from, but they were making a game about Chicago politics in the 19th to 20th century, that 1890s through 1920s period, and so. Yeah, which is like, strangely enough,
cool.
Yeah, and that's where the name Windy City comes from, is that particular period in politics.
Loose lips.
Yeah.
What game is that? We'll plug them.
God, I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head. Like, I reached out to 35, 40 teams.
I get it, yeah.
And it's it's hard to keep them all straight in my head. Even like earlier, the last week and a half, I had the games Iris and Vern, and like they're completely different games. But one of the teams is based out of Brazil, and then one of the people on Vern is based out of Colombia. And in my head, I just had it like flipped. That Iris is from the Colombian team, even though like they're very clearly very far away from each other, but just like
it can happen.
I mean, at least unlike a certain friend of mine, I never asked a Swiss person if they spoke Swedish. So yeah, that did happen, which was hilarious, and then I made fun of him terribly for it.
Well,
so
yeah. You gotta take the shots where you can find them.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah, I wasn't gonna let that one go.
No way.
It's not. Yeah. No, I was. Oh man, I took it. It was a good shot. But yeah. But trying to think, how do we get ourselves back on track here? Well, thankfully, there's a person in chat whose name is Catlin Meow, who posts a delightful little cat emoji in there, which is delightful, and thank you. So I guess that's as good of a segue as possible to get us back to the game, or actually get started talking about the game.
Well, back to it. We're kind of talking about shaders and
I'll shout out.
Yeah. We'll talk about like the actual game itself. The closest way I could think to really kind of explain it to people, because I've been playing it because I think your game is adorable as hell. And
Tom, we'll send over to you a more recent build because you probably have access to the demo.
I do. I haven't had a chance to play it because the only with quarantine and all that stuff. Hey man, I live with one other person.
I'm kidding.
And
in a recent build that we can send you, there are computers that you can play against.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're cat bots.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you can do a full tussle lobby.
Nice.
Yeah.
I will say that Jellybean is adorable.
Oh yeah, that was the cat that was living with me. Sausage is the cat that's currently living with me and sleeping in my bed right now.
Nice.
Jellybean and Sausage were lived with me for forever, and then my friend is now living in a different house, so Jellybean went with them, but Jellybean is still the cutest. Like, I love Sausage more than anything, and he's my cat, but Jellybean is the cutest, sweetest cat fucking ever. Sorry, I don't know if cursing is allowed.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Mature content.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Look.
Yeah.
So I think we're okay.
The way I handle swearing is if it happens, it happens. But until it happens, I try and limit myself.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'm not.
And then
gonna
once
go
it happens, we
crazy.
just go off the rails.
No, the floodgates are open, man. So fuck it.
Okay.
So.
Oh yeah. Okay, but yeah, no, but Jellybean really is the like one of the most vocal, cuddliest, unbelievably cute creatures I have ever seen.
Well, Trace.
And yeah.
I prefaced before you joined the call before the show, I may have told Stu that I have something prepared here that's in secret, and I'm holding it until near the end of the show.
Okay.
Because
he may have told me, which also means he may not.
Keep it a secret. I'll figure it out.
But
yeah.
that's
Cool.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah,
Yep.
All of our
high
cats
Looks
in the game
great.
though are based on real cats. So, Cleo is one of the cats that Trace had in
yeah. Well, that's the
past
cat that
time.
currently. She lives with my mom now. She lived with
Yeah.
me in Savannah, and then I snuck her around in dorms and in apartments that she should not have been in. But now she lives
Yeah.
with my mom.
Let me just say that several of the apartments that we have lived in over the last 12 years, we have not been exactly forthcoming with the number of animals we've had.
Yeah, 4. I could see that. So
Yeah.
I've been there. When I had
Okay.
5, they didn't know we had 5.
Well, at the same time too, like if you get to know the managers well, they don't
Yeah.
always give a shit. So
Yeah, as long as they're not like destroying the walls and like cleaning on the
exactly,
floor and stuff. Yeah, I mean,
exactly. Well, so I was trying to explain Fisti-Fluffs to my wife and some friends, and the best explanation I could come up with would be if you took Smash and Power Stone, and then they got together, and the product of that holy union grew up to be a cat lady.
yeah, yeah.
That's pretty accurate. That's funny. That's like not the first time someone has described it with Power Stone. And
Well,
Power Stone I was not aware of until
The first
someone
time someone
the
brought it
first
up.
time
man,
someone was like, "Oh, that it was Power Stone inspiration," and I was just like, "What
Oh,
game?" Yeah,
maybe. Actually, it was the last podcast we did. It was
yeah,
Gavin who said that,
yeah.
and we were on Plastic Hearts podcast about 6 months
Cool
ago,
guys.
and he
Yeah,
brought that up, and we were like,
we don't know.
maybe. I mean,
Yeah,
maybe subconsciously, but
well, it's
but no,
not
yeah.
like
yeah. I mean,
not
well,
directly.
older generation of gamer here, so
Well, yeah, that was Dreamcast, right?
yeah, the first Power
Yeah,
Stone was.
yeah, and I mean, I played a lot of Dreamcast games, but it was mostly like Dragoon, Sonic,
Yeah.
like not really that stuff that was more kind of, I
Well, I
don't
mean,
know.
why would people play Power Stone when Soul Calibur was on there?
That's true. I think I did play Soul Calibur
You
on
know, and
Dreamcast.
like
So,
super bass fishing.
yeah.
Oh,
Or oh no, Sonic the Fighters was Genesis. That's right.
But yeah,
Did
but
play.
either way, it's
yeah.
like you have built this ludicrous game that clearly shows that at least one of the team has lived with multiple cats,
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and
because
so
that is basically what our lives look
oh yeah.
like.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. And so like that definitely was a big inspiration for the game, and I wanted to keep it in kind of the same kind of feeling when cats are playing, because that's cats playing is the inspiration, not so much like street alley cats roughing it up, just trying to
Yeah,
stay alive. That's not it. It's pampered, weird little goofballs fighting over a jingly ball on the ground and
with hats.
destroying and with hats and knocking down shelves as they're trying to chase this little jingly ball. Like
Yeah.
that was like the core thought, because my cats are really, really like goofy. Um, and so Sausage is kind of like he's not small, but he's not like overly large. He's just kind of like he's got some chub to him. And Jellybean is a little cross-eyed, so he's not the most like balanced cat. So when they would tussle, they would kind of like chase each other, then fall down, and then like they would be like really wobbly and really animated. And I was just like, they're so weird. And so that made me wanting to make a controller or like just a cat player in Unreal that was like physics based and wobbly. So I was like, that just would be a fun character to play as. And then that led to making a prototype where the cats just kind of like wobbled their arms into each other, and it was super, it looks like super jank, but it was like even fun in the jankness of it. And it was very nice. And then that just kept evolving into the wobbly cat tusslin that we have today.
Well,
Mhm.
hey, as I've said many a time on this show, a fun game is going to be fun no matter how jank it looks.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
a bad game will be bad, and no amount of pretty can make up for it.
That's
Well, Duke Nukem Forever. Come on, man. Beautiful
mean,
game.
I wouldn't
many
even go so
just
far
kidding.
as to call that a beautiful game, but you know.
yeah.
I mean, it was.
I was thinking more along the lines of like Anthem, where
Oh,
That is
not
a
throwing shots if
very
anyone out there is
and like
developing Anthem, but
no,
it is a
dude,
shame how good it looks and how
that game needed a couple more years of love, but
Mhm.
you
I mean,
know, no game should have to be on longer than a 2-year development cycle.
I don't. At least for like the core of the game, I would agree
Shouldn't
with
have
that.
to.
But I mean, there are games that Stardew Valley was what, 6 years? That game's fucking tight.
There was one person who did it, but if you had like 6 people on that team, if you had as
Yeah.
big a team on that game as you have on Anthem, there's
Oh
no
yeah.
excuse.
well, with
I mean-
Anthem, there were plenty of reasons for why, because at multiple stages throughout development, they just decided to say, hey, let's take all of the stuff that we've already done and throw that out and basically start again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Which is like
that's a
that
failure
could-
of leadership.
I mean, yeah, definitely. It's definitely a failure of the project, just the project as a whole. I sometimes that could be a sign that gives me confidence that they're developing, because when a similar situation is happening now with Metroid Prime 4, where they
Oh,
at least in what they've talked about it, what little they've talked about,
And Retro's
they've
back on it.
yeah. So, but they put a competent team on the game and announced that they scrapped essentially everything they've done for it, and that was like, I mean, I love Retro. Put it like, let's go. I want to see what's they're making now. But
Dude, I want I was at both times so crushed and so happy when they made that announcement. I was
same.
crushed because on one hand, and this is a very small part of the crush, that I was going to have to wait longer for Metroid Prime 4, and that's like whatever. I was more crushed because that means that whatever they were going to do about like the remasters of the Metroid Prime trilogy, I was going to have to wait for those. And I want an HD remaster of those games so bad.
They should
but-
be on Switch. It makes too much sense.
Yeah, they should be. But I mean, we all know that they eventually will be when they're ready to actually show off Metroid Prime 4. But when they were all like, hey, we're going back to formula because the game wasn't what we wanted it to be, I was like, yo, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen a game studio do.
Yeah. So yeah, there are that kind of situation. It can be like, I respect that. That's so cool. And then other times where it's like, what the fuck's going on over there, guys? what are you doing?
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, dude, I want that game so bad. But I will gladly wait until it's done.
You know,
Yeah.
and sometimes
same.
it like that decision comes out from like your publisher. Well, they'll go,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we're this game is not like it's the publisher's IP oftentimes, and if the game isn't up to standard or they're not meeting deadlines, then they'll cut the project or bring somebody else on. I mean,
Yeah.
that happened
Yeah.
to Warner Brothers Montreal when I was in Chicago, and their whole art team all of a sudden showed up on my art team. It's like, hey, by the way, Warner Brothers Montreal art team is joining our team today. And we're like, what?
Well, on the positive side, you all were working in Unreal. It
Yep.
wasn't like you
Yes.
got
Yeah.
a team who had been working in like Unity who all of a sudden joins the Unreal team.
Yeah,
That's
that
true.
would have been a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if they got another game that got picked up after that. But I'm not allowed to tell you what they were working on. But it was Warner Brothers IP, and it got just stone cold cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their whole studio was just like they had like 150 guys on the team, all but like 12 people
Yeah.
who didn't have anything to do.
Wow.
That's rough.
Yeah, really. So sometimes it does come from those guys up there that pull strings like that.
Yeah.
And especially when you've got a whole lot of funding from them and the whole PR marketing thing. If I mean, at the end of the day, it is a business, and if you're not gonna get your margins, or it's gonna be too expensive, then it makes sense to reallocate or
Yeah.
go back and redesign.
Yeah,
And
and it
yeah.
allowed Warner Brothers Montreal to make Gotham Knights.
Oh, and he's gone
Oh,
and back.
It's okay. He will be back. I might have to look at the ceiling really quick. Yes, I do.
Oh, it looks good. Yeah.
Yeah, I
It
just
looks like the
still have to
camera's
look at
fixing
the
itself.
ceiling. Ceiling is really interesting today.
Oh yeah, cool.
looks like I've lost.
There we are. Oh man.
Am I back?
Yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
you're back. You know, I really should take down that wonderful bug fixing stuff on the ceiling, but it really fits really well up there.
Bug fixing.
Yeah, well, like I have my bug fixing thing for fixing the stream. It's up on my ceiling.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah. So when you see me start
see.
looking up like that means
That makes
I'm fixing something with the show.
When you see me looking like this, it means I'm looking at you at my other screen, looking up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I look at Trace, all goofy.
oh, I'm 100% with you right there. I mean, I'm constantly looking at basically nothing. So,
but just to close out that thought, in thinking about it, my developer mind that just keeps thinking back to, and I'm sure anyone else that has worked on like an indie or just on the development side, the prototyping and early development phase is mostly just dead weight. Like so many I have a folder of just dead projects that like this just isn't fun, this isn't working, this isn't good. And I'm sure like, and that's just me, a small one person like working on my own computer. I can't even imagine like a larger like company, the amount of just like sludge to get through to find like gold, to find like a good project that like, yeah, that like, and that's probably to me what in a optimistic kind of way of thinking about it, where I hope a lot of those decisions come from, and just what kind of struggles they go through in the development, because
a lot of
can
big
attest
companies
to a
don't
lot
really
of it.
have to deal with that too much.
The
I mean,
developers
obviously,
would.
there's that aspect to it, but if you look
Yeah.
at companies like Visual Concepts and Hangar 13 in Novato, California, they make like 2K wrestling game and 2K basketball.
And that's why I kind of mentioned like finding gold, because once gold or once a kind of system is found, like a sports game, Pokemon, any
You're just
ongoing
updating it every
series,
year or
yeah,
every 2 years.
or
It's
it's easier to kind of iterate on that. But
yeah.
I mean, I want to see those deep folders of like people making like person before they made the first, I don't know, like a new IP like Dishonored or System Shock,
Yeah.
something like that, where they're just like getting weird, like I want to talk to those people inside
Yeah,
those
I
minds,
think
see those folders.
great mega examples of companies that would have like this beautiful dead archive would be like Nintendo.
Oh yeah.
Would be a big one. I think NetherRealm, formerly Midway Games, back when it was Midway.
I can tell you for a fact that they did, because I actually worked for Midway Games back in the day.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, my first ever game job was 2008. I was a tester for Mortal Kombat versus versus DC. And while I was there, they used to have an annual prototyping meeting where people would come up with like little quick game prototypes and like pitch it to management.
So cool.
And so there were all these like little side things that people would like throw together, and and it's like where games like This Is Vegas, which was one of the games they were working on that never was released, came from. I think Mindgate PsyOps Conspiracy came from there too. And so it's like every now and then, you strike gold, but then, there's going to be a huge folder full of things where they're just garbage.
Yeah. That's just development. That like, not that like, it's not a problem to make something that's garbage. It happens. You gotta,
well, it's
gotta
like,
try it.
there are still lessons learned from it. You know, it's
Oh, totally. Yeah.
like I can't tell you how many games I still have backed up on my external hard drives that I was like, hey, I'm going to throw a whole bunch of time at this. And then you throw a whole bunch of time at it and you're like, hey, this is garbage,
Yeah.
you know, but you still
And
learn from it.
oh,
Yeah.
totally. And there's still like there's like evolution in tech and just certain like proprietary like systems that companies will kind of make in some of these dead projects. I know at least with us, like a number of the like the character controller, some shader techniques, some general like backend stuff that we set up as like I cannibalized from previous things of like I've made this like a while ago. This is cool. I've already made it. Just bring it over. Like
Nice.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah.
We actually have somebody
So
in chat, Jess Dubs. They were said they were tasked to organize those folders of the old prototypes when they were working QA at NetherRealm.
Yeah, so
So,
Jess is our debug lead, actually, that we
yeah.
sniped from Netherrealm.
oh,
Well,
nice.
not so
I
much
mean,
sniped. They
Lord.
they previously worked, and then now they're working with us.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Jess and I
Yeah.
worked together. We sat about 20 feet from each other when we were both there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, back when I was there, they were at the old building on Belmont in California. And
Yeah, it's the WMS building now.
oh yeah, they expanded into that.
Yeah.
But we had QA had its own like separate like little mini warehouse room. We had our own dedicated air conditioner. You know,
Bro,
and
you do not want to hear what that studio is like nowadays.
what the QA at NetherRealm or
yeah,
WMS?
I'm not going to go into it.
Well, I
No,
mean,
I'm not
if
gonna
I
go into
wanted to know what it was like, I still have a couple friends over on that team, so I would just like be all like, "Yo,
Pop in.
dudes, what's going on?"
How's life?
Yeah.
If you do want to send that email, ask them how the sad box is.
Oh no, that
Yeah.
sounds so bad.
That's what we call it.
Is Warren
sad
still the
box.
manager over there? Because he was great.
I don't know. I was never on the debug team, so I really don't know a whole lot of people that are in that
Jess.
department.
Yeah.
He
Yes,
is.
he is.
Yes, he is.
Jess says-
Dude, Warren was like, because I'm not going to name any names, but there was
Other than Warren.
with the exception of Warren, because Warren was excellent and he was the dude who like made the situation kind of right by me. So like it was maybe a month into my contract. We weren't even working on like a milestone at the time. Like it was like a Tuesday, and I was 2 minutes late. You know, and I was 2 minutes late, but I was still one of the first two people there to start the day shift. You know, and a producer came in, or associate producer came in, who had also previously been in test within the last couple of years, which like double makes this just terrible. And like he just starts laying into me.
Mhm.
You know, like he's all like, dude, you don't even have like the build up yet. And I'm like, dude, I just got here. You know, he's like, where are you just getting here? Job starts at this time. And like, just like laying into me. And I'm just like, this is some bullshit, man.
I'll go home if you want me to.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, you know, I kind of wanted to stay with the job. It was my first ever games job. And it's like, especially it's like your first games job. You really don't want to like be that guy, you know?
No.
And, you know, I was just like,
Right.
that sucks. And he walks out the door and like, I just go about my day. Warren comes in like 20, 30 minutes later and he's like, hey, I heard you had a run in with so-and-so. And I was like, yeah, dude, he was a straight asshole. And Warren was like, look, man, I'm just going to go ahead and apologize for him. And I'm like, dude, it would mean a lot more if he apologized to me. And he's like, yeah, you're never going to get that apology. This is the best you're going to get. And I'm like, yeah. And it's just, it is kind of bullshit, like how testers are treated, because it's like everybody looks at it like it's the mailroom of games, which is demeaning to the job itself because it is a legitimate career path, even if it's not salaried that way.
We have a very, very different outlook about debug in our company. Our debug team is very highly valued.
Dude.
Yeah.
You guys
I mean,
are
we're
all
a
right
small
in my
team.
book.
Yeah, we're a super small team, and so debug makes up a good chunk percentage-wise of it. But I've also worked with debug, and it is very important work. But and so I value it deeply, and it needs to be done. It isn't the most glamorous, both in outlook of how people see it and in just what you're doing, but it is like I am desperately reliant on debug and to make sure that the game is working properly
Yeah.
because I want to make the best game that we can. So
Yeah, I personally like using the word debug over testing department because
yeah,
it kind of has a better feel to it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
it's a little bit more accurate too because they're not just. It's not the same quite as like product or quality testing, like traditional like toys and
Yeah.
products as like fridges and appliances. Like appliance testing have like very specific things where you're just testing the product. While debug, there's logic and like creative problem solving and insight into development that you need to do it well in order
Mhm.
to like work with the development team and ensure that there aren't issues that are still there. So there's a little bit more than just like I'm gonna play this today and see if there are any bugs because that's not quite what the work is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, dude, makes me happy to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear.
Thanks.
My personal favorite, though, was always doing localization testing, which I got the opportunity to do at Midway a lot because I was the only person who could hear the difference between Portuguese, Italian, and Spanish.
Oh,
Do you speak those?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
I
You just
see.
could hear. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's
Well,
so
they
cool.
sound different,
They do.
you
Yeah.
know? And so I became localization tester guy. And
Cool.
so that was kind of fun. You know, so like I didn't have to worry about doing all the cross connection multiplayer stuff, which is super important, but oh my God, it is tedious.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Mhm.
you know, like I found my niche, and then I went on. I worked at High Voltage Software for about 2 years, and I got then moved up to doing standards testing for the Wii, which is like, dude, Sony and I would much rather do Sony and Microsoft standards testing over Nintendo standards testing
Oh,
because Nintendo
yes.
has much worse technical writers than Microsoft and Sony.
Oh, interesting.
Because like I've something for people in the audience in case you don't know. So if you're gonna put a game out on somebody's platform, you know, like Xbox, Switch, PlayStation, you have certain standards that you are required to meet to be able to put the game on the platform.
Right.
And so there's like a bunch of like simple stuff. Like if you have a controller, it has to look like the appropriate controller
Yeah.
for the platform. And you have more technical stuff. Like it has to work on all supported, what's the word I'm looking for? Resolutions for television.
yeah.
So like you have to cover, you know, from 480p all the way up to, well, now 4K.
4K. Yeah.
Yeah.
Depending on the
Yeah. Depending
platform.
on, yeah. You know,
Well, I would imagine all the new generation consoles that are about to come out are gonna be requiring
Yeah.
4K.
Whatever
Yeah.
comes out next probably because Switch is just 480 to 1080.
yeah. But either way, like still 480 to 1080p. I mean, that's 4 separate resolutions just using televisions alone. So,
Right.
you know, and so like there's all that stuff. And so you have this, and it's a big ass book that
Oh, yeah.
the stuff is in. And like the Microsoft and Sony stuff, like very clearly was written by American technical writers. It makes a lot of sense when you're reading through it. But whoever did the localization on the Nintendo Wii specifically, I don't know what like the Switch or the Wii U stuff looked like. But whoever
Yeah.
did the localization on that standards book just needs to be like just like given a hard shove and just walk up to them and be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
you know,
I like and just lightly because we've been kind of researching and reviewing it. I think that has improved over the years.
I am very happy to hear that."
Because the Switch's documentation has been pretty clear, but like that said, I haven't poked through like and compared it and other ones closely, but it has at least improved. The amount it's improved and the like how good the other ones are, I don't have full insight
Yeah, I don't
into.
have
But
any.
I tell you, this has got to be the most technical episode of the show so far.
heck yeah, I'm enjoying it deeply. Like this is
Yeah, I love this.
You know-
so it's kind of funny when just talking anytime where I'm like having like business or we're talking about the game, whenever like we get into like these kind of talks, I'm just like,
Just it
fuck yeah,
goes.
let's get into it. Like this is
Yeah.
this is my shit. But when it's like, what
Trace,
projected
we're here for business
platforms?
today. We need to
Yeah,
set this down a little bit.
yeah. Like what
Dial it back.
platforms? What content do we need for
Well,
marketplaces?
look,
What
like,
is
don't get
the-
me wrong. Like,
Yeah.
I would love to sit down and ask those questions, but at the same time, it's like, those questions suck. Like,
the-
Yeah, it's like
everybody
the
asks
same
those questions. Like,
question,
I mean,
same
I
answer.
could be like every other podcast or every other YouTuber and just be like, yeah, guys, so are you looking at a Q4 2021 release or Q3? You know,
Yeah.
or I could be like, yo, how you guys treating your debug department? You know, like,
Yeah.
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 Debug Lee just went on a 10-day vacation. She got back today.
Oh, word. Tell her
Yeah.
I said I hope her vacation was great from one debugger to another.
Tell her yourself. You've been talking to her in the
Oh,
chat.
snap.
Jess.
J Dubs.
Yeah, that's
Jess
Jess.
Stubbs. Hey,
Yeah.
awesome. I hope you had a
Also,
wonderful vacation. One
cute piece.
Yeah.
former QA professional to a current one. Yeah, that's all I
I
got.
love the handshake.
Yeah. Yeah, I unfortunately broke my finger animations earlier
Uh-oh.
this week or last week, but hopefully I'm gonna have them back implemented for next week. But at least I can
Okay.
still like make fists and coffee
there's the-
cups.
You using the Vive?
The index.
Oh, you have the index. So cool.
Oh, I
Oh,
love
I'm
this thing.
jealous. I've only developed with the Vive. I'm dying to work with the index at some point. That's so rad.
It's very nice. I'm a huge
Ah,
fan, but
yeah, Yeah.
yeah, I have
I'm
to relearn a lot of it moving forward because
Oh,
in
I'm sure.
right now the show is in 423. But
Yeah.
in 424 they deprecated all of the old input stuff for VR. So when I just took the old project and I put it to 425, it like broke all of my stuff.
That's
And
the shit
Yeah,
I'm
that's
saying.
something
You're-
that's
but
used
but
for the
it was
input
also
too.
it was my fault too because I didn't bother reading change logs. You know,
fair.
and so I lost some work and I rebuilt the work, and so now I'm doing like kind of like a phased move over to it.
Yeah.
So it's like I still have this project in 423, and so the big change for next week. And don't worry, Indie Game Lover, I didn't miss you. I see you. Hi. But I'm making that move next week, and that's also going to be the transition over into 425. And so it's like I've had to like redo everything.
Exciting.
But at the same time, you don't need a third-party plugin to handle a lot of stuff. Like to get index support previously, you had to have the Steam VR plugin. But now you don't need that anymore. So like now it recognizes index button, index joystick and stuff. So it's like it's really nice. But
cool.
Still still having to relearn a bunch of new stuff and all that. So
Yeah, kind of. I mean, obviously we have Fisti-Fluffs as a priority right now, and so I wouldn't even have time to even entertain the idea of developing something focused on index. But
After
yeah.
January, maybe.
No, I'm kidding. I'm so kidding.
No, I know. Yeah.
I was letting
but
the audience know on that one.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But
That said, though, like in what's the date today? The 26th. So I'm looking at like about a month and a half. Some Star Wars Squadrons.
Sick.
I am so looking forward to that game.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to that game.
I don't. That's the. I don't think I've looked up.
That's the X-Wing vs. TIE Fighter spiritual successor. So it's going to be, it has full single player campaigns for the New Republic, aka the Rebels right after the Death Star or Death Star 2, and the Imperials. And it's going to have like a couple different 5v5 multiplayer modes. So super looking forward to it.
Cool. And
Hell
you'll be able
yeah.
to use your headset and like
Yes.
get in the space. Wow.
That's so cool.
I also need to
That's
track
cool.
down like a quality HOTAS because like I like these controllers a lot, but dude, I want a throttle, I want a stick. You know,
Okay.
Oh yeah.
like
Are you-
I don't want to be like okay at this game. I want to be the best.
Okay.
Are you gonna stream playing any of it?
Oh hell yes.
Okay.
Cool.
I'll keep
Oh.
you pinned because
Yeah,
I want to
we'll
watch
come
it.
check you out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that sounds
I
great.
will have to make like I'll probably make like a new chest that has like the Rebel flight suit and another one with the Imperial. so that
Do
way
it.
I can appropriately, rep
Yeah,
whoever
yeah.
I'm flying. Because, like, look,
Yeah.
dude, don't get me wrong. Like, I fully abide by the rebels and what they stand for because they're right.
It's
Uh,
fun to be the bad guy. though.
but they just have meaner looking ships, man.
TIE
Because
Fighter's
like
cool.
X-wings, Y-wings, A-wings, like, dude, they are baller, and I love them. But like the TIE Interceptor and like the scream that they have as they fly past, like, I
Oh.
mean, that instills fear.
Yeah, it really
And like
does.
I'm looking
Everything.
forward to just being that guy who's like, comes up on the tail of an X-wing and then just like burns the afterburners just to swing past him to give him just that brief moment of fear before I blow him into space.
Tom, I'm glad we're friends and you're not coming after my X-wing.
Don't worry about it, man. But dude, like, and also too, it's like I absolutely want to fly an X-wing. And
Oh,
like
yeah.
in
Oh, yeah.
the premiere trailer they showed for it, there's apparently a moment where like the players in their X-wing and they look over and Wedge Antilles is on their wing and he like nods to him. I want that to happen so bad. Like, because like,
That's great.
yeah, I was yesterday I was talking with another streamer, and she isn't like a big Star Wars fan because she's very young, she didn't grow up with it, and
How do you not grow up with Star Wars? Star Wars is
I
in
get it.
every generation.
I mean it happens though, and so I was explaining like my love of this to her, and it's like the multiple layers of Star Wars where it's like the samurai film and the Western and like the World War II fighter movie. And like the fighter bit is like what resonates with me. Like I like Jedi and I like the Old West stuff, but like I like fighter aces and dog fights, and so like Wedge Antilles is my dude.
Yeah.
And so like being able to have that moment of him just like looking over at you and being like, "Hey, good job. I'm just gonna like die in my chair at that moment, and just be like, Wedge told me good job. I have lived an excellent life." So
That's great. Yeah.
so that's what I'm
No,
looking
that's great.
forward to. That and
Yeah,
getting
that's
into
great.
some feline shenanigans. But
Oh, hell yeah.
dude, it's just
Yeah.
like it is silly too because I don't know about your cats, Trace, but all of my cats, each of them have like their own like different like scrapping style.
Yep. Oh, yeah. No,
You got a
So-
different attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like everybody, they come at it all from a different angle. It's like it shows their perspective. So like, so we have 4 cats: Frey, Zoe, Pumpkin, and Patrick. Patrick is like like he's like overly attached to me, but he is like a completely uncoordinated doofus. And that's his style.
Mhm.
Zoe is like the bruiser. She's got like this mean right hook. And that's her style. Pumpkin rolls with like strength, but like Frey is like Bruce Lee, where it's like when he doesn't have to do a bunch of moves, but when he does, it's definitive.
Yeah.
It's like one time when they were all younger, Zoe really wanted to play, and she was like, like jumping at Frey, and he was just not having it. And then she came at him once, and he just one hand was like, no, and just like pushed her aside, and she got the point. And like my wife Misty and I are sitting there, and we're just like, dude, did you just? He just,
Lay down the law.
yeah. And it's just, like, and of course he still very much wants to, but just at that moment he was like, no, I'm not having it.
Yeah.
But
No, they like every cat is different, and all the cats that I've encountered, like all of their little quirks and mannerisms,
All of them.
from tussling to all of them have been like wildly like unique. With Jellybean and Sausage specifically, it's and like I was saying earlier, with them being very uncoordinated and weird, it is also very funny because Link or Sausage, his full name is Sausage Link. So if I mess it up, it's because I call him both.
No.
And so,
real
but,
quick, Gamer Girl Sage, thanks for joining us today.
Hello. We're talking
yeah.
about cats.
Yeah, we're talking about cats and how they like to tussle, and a game about cats tussling called Fisti-Fluffs.
Yeah.
And
We'll talk
also a
more.
lot of like technical game stuff because
Mumbo jumbo.
we're nerds.
Oh yeah,
Speak for yourself, man.
I am.
Just kidding.
Whatever, Mister doing straight line charcoal drawings.
To finish my thought though, with Jellybean and sausage, sausage is quite a bit larger than Jellybean is. He's at least because he's part main. He's a tabby mutt mix of like part Maine Coon, part tabby, short haired, all mixed together. So he's a bit like larger than a like normal standard cat, and Jellybean is just a tiny Siamese. And so like, but Jellybean is the one who instigates all the fights. He's the one who's like, fight me, while Sausage is just like laying down. He's just like, why? And then Sausage runs away. He's like a little wimp. He's just like, I don't want to do it. He just like rolls on the ground and like spins his body in a circle while like Jellybean is trying to catch up to him. And I'm just like, just use your size. You're so much larger. What are you doing?
It is pretty funny that way too, because we also have ferrets, which are just lovely little animals, and all of our cats are afraid of them.
Yeah,
which is nice because they're teeny. The biggest one weighs like 2 pounds.
I wonder if it's kind of like, I mean, I haven't had cats and ferrets near each other, but I wonder if it's like the cucumber thing, where like their shape reminds them of like a snake or something, and they're just like, not fucking with that. Get
and
that
the
away
funny
from
thing
me.
is too, because it's like just real brief aside on that is like most other animals know, like look at cats and are like, I'm not messing with that, and then it's just really kind of funny to look at cats and be like, wow, they have something that they don't want to mess with.
Yeah, it's weird.
I mean, that could have something to do with it. I think too, it's just the fact that like they can very clearly tell that they're mammals from like smell and look and all that stuff, and they're just like, why are your legs so tiny? Why is your body so long? Everything
then,
about you is wrong. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess
Maybe.
so. Yeah, because I was just thinking like, I mean, they like stereotypically fight and like chase after mice, but like a ferret is kind of
like a mouse.
I don't
skinny
think
mouse.
mice are mammals, are they?
Mice are mammals.
Yeah,
rodents
okay.
are mammals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's just
okay.
But ferrets are mustelids, so they're more closely related to dogs and bears.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
dogs and bears are weirdly close to each other. It's weird.
Well, dogs, bears, cats all branch off of carnivora, and then they broke off very early on, and what would go on to be like cats and a couple other animals, and then dogs, bears, and mustelids went off in their different direction, and now we have bears, ferrets, weasels, stoats, otters, wolves, coyotes, dingoes.
Yeah. So to comment on this cool side tangent, being in game developer, I obviously love games and tech and stuff. But what gives me the most inspiration and what is the most exciting stuff for me is just like science, nature. Like I'm a huge just environment awareness kind of person, and so just like this like kind of shit is really cool, and that's the kind of stuff that makes me like think about creative new cool game ideas. And so it's like I obviously love talking about Star Wars and nerd shit because I'm a dork, but like this is also super cool. So I just wanted a side tangent. But
no, man. Yeah, it's just like that's one of the really fun things too about game dev is that you get this opportunity to really flex that muscle.
Yeah.
While it's like one of my things.
Just go crack open a book and learn something about it too.
Yeah.
Like no business analyst is cracking open an anatomy book. There's no reason for it.
Yeah.
What
they're
brought
looking
me
at
to
spreadsheets,
games,
but
me too. But
what brought me to games over any other creative medium, because I was traditionally trained before going to college with, I had never touched Photoshop or any digital stuff before going to college. I was just a trained oil painter, printmaker. I loved painting, illustration, like that's what I wanted to do for work. But then it was like, that's a shit work to do because you're either a gallery person or you're like graphic design, advertisement, something like that.
You teach for wine and
or you teach.
events.
Yeah. And so there's like very few, and I was like, I don't want to do any of those. And so in kind of finding where I wanted to go next, the most interesting and exciting thing about games was the ability to not just be like one type of creative person. To like,
Yeah.
because in games you need to simultaneously,
So
even if you're
broad.
not doing everything, you need to like merge illustration, photography, filmmaking, sound design, music,
Video editing,
gameplay, programming, like software. Like it
modeling,
is,
drawing.
and yeah, and countless other things. So it's like this merging of genres that makes this cool, I don't know, just super creative, exciting medium that
Yeah,
I
that's a
like.
similar thing for me too. When I was, I think Trace and I are on a slightly different, but very aligned
Similar. Yeah.
art upbringing. I did painting and stuff when I was very young, but all of my, high school education was digital art. It was photography. It was Photoshop, Illustrator, video editing. The whole other half of that, and a very similar thing when I got to college. I was kind of like, well, I don't want to just do photography because that's Photoshop, Lightroom, and a camera, which is great. And then I was like, well, I don't want to do like sequel art because that's just pencil and paper and a little bit of computer stuff and Illustrator and maybe some Photoshop. And in the same kind of thing where, the beautiful thing about being in games is we have, there's so much to learn and so much new and exciting stuff. But at the same time, yesterday I was setting up studio lights and I busted out my camera and was doing photography. And then there was some photo editing aspect to it. And that was after I had drawn all those charcoal lines that I was very tediously trying to get absolutely perfectly straight and perfectly spaced and lined up. And then we went and we put it into a fucking game.
Yeah.
So it's cool because we take all this stuff that we've learned and that we know that have their own unique individual profession to them. Like you could be a drawer, you could be a sketch artist, you
Mhm.
could be a photographer, you could be a studio lighting artist, you could be a texture artist. But being in the position that we're in, we have the capability and the know-how to kind of just put it all together. And what's great about being on our team is we have like 8 to 10 really talented individuals, all sorts of experience and styles. And if there's something I can't do, there's somebody on my team that can.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if
And
you're ever looking for an internet robot, I might know a guy.
An internet robot?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I might know a guy.
always need an internet robot in your corner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
certainly. Is it you, Tom?
It might be me. It might be me.
It may be.
Yeah.
Can't
Well,
speak on it. I'm under
That's
contract.
that is one of the great things about game development too. It's because my education is primarily in theater, and
Okay.
so it's when I started working at games, the whole idea of working with people in so many different disciplines, working towards one unified kind of goal, was that's just what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the people behind the scenes, people in front of this, on the stage, in front of the stage, running the house, running the lights, doing makeup, costumes. It's just that is, and that's part of why I do this, because I was like, well, shit, I need to find something to do, and I was like, well, I still love being a performer, and I kind of know a thing or two about games, so why not put the two of them together?
Tom, your makeup looks like crap today. Just letting you know, your makeup guy is really slipping.
The
Whatever.
robo makeup. That's funny. My first my technical first paid job ever was outdoor theater. So
Mine was
I
Falconer.
Whoa.
what? Okay. You have to
Yeah.
follow that up slightly. What did you do? So
I
you
was
just trained the falcon, or
I worked primarily with hawks, but I got this job working for this company called the Greenbrier Outfitters, and they were affiliated with the Greenbrier Hotel in West Virginia. And so what they did was they would, they didn't work for the hotel, but operated out of it. And they would do like outdoor excursion-y type stuff for hotel guests. So like they would, there was mountain bikes they could rent. They could go on mountain biking trips, all this stuff. And I worked specifically for the falconry guys. So what I did was I was one of the people responsible for taking care of the birds and doing flying demonstrations for guests. So
Wow.
yeah.
That's so cool.
That's so cool. My first
Yeah.
job was stupid.
Well, the fun thing is that since I did that, because I was like 2001, 2002, I got to, science finally caught up, with where I always wanted it to be. And birds were reclassified as avian dinosaurs. So now I can technically say that I was a dinosaur handler.
Whoa.
And 5-year-old me would lose his fucking mind if he heard that.
5-year-old me would lose his fucking mind if he knew what I was doing today.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of how I look at my life. I like to look back and think to myself, if 5-year-old me would think I was cool. And if 5-year-old me would think I was cool, I feel like I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
That's
a pretty good outlook. Yeah.
They always ask me when I was a child, they go like, they give you that piece of paper, like, what do you want to do when you're an adult? Like, where do you want to live and whatever. And I put, when I was in like second grade, I put artist.
Yeah.
And although I have many more responsibilities than just artist, and obviously artist is incredibly broad.
Yeah.
But I get to live it now.
The first time I remember filling one of those out was like first or second grade. And at the time I was absolutely addicted to Harvest Moon on the PS2. And I put farmer. I was like, I want to be a farmer. I do it every day in Harvest Moon. I want to have cute cows and sheep.
Yeah.
That's what it's like, right?
It's a little more different than that, yeah.
Oh no, yeah. I very quickly was like, oh, I don't want to be a farmer. But
yeah, I put paleontologist down, and my teachers were surprised I could spell it.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Well, I guess that's a compliment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, dude, they didn't understand how much I love dinosaurs.
Apparently not.
Fair.
Yeah, I mean, like, dude, I in a couple weeks, I'm trying to get a paleontologist on the show for probably October. And like,
cool.
I reached out to him earlier this month, and he's like, he's a professor, and he's like, hey, school's starting up for me in a couple weeks. Ask me next month. And I was like, you got it. And so I have like a calendar event ready and everything. Be like, tweet this person, ask if they want to be on show. And I'm just like counting the days. I'm like, ooh.
Yes.
I want a dinosaur expert, because I want to talk to somebody who knows more than me about dinosaurs, and then just like hang on every word and just be like, oh my god, thank you. That is so great.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Just
the great thing about this show is like I get to meet like all sorts of wonderful nerds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like actors, voice actors, like those guys are nerds. They're actors.
Oh yeah.
Like writers, they're nerds. They write. Game developers don't even need to bother with that one. I had a cinematographer on, and like sitting down and like listen to him talk about lens choice and stuff. And I'm like, yo, this dude's a nerd.
Yeah. Well,
he was also a fellow Marylander.
Oh.
So that was fun.
Nice. One of my closest friends is from Maine, so kind of close, but they have a degree in botany, and they're plant nerd, and so it's just like that's not something I'm super familiar with, but it's just like, tell me everything about plants, because that's fucking cool.
Yo, tell me all about them chloroplasts.
Oh yeah. Talk to me about those chloroplasts.
I have now used all of my botany knowledge. Like, I don't know a damn thing about like plants. Like, my wife will be like, hey, like, you go dig up the whatever McCall in the garden and move them into the back of the house. And I'm like, the what? And she's
Baby,
like,
just show me that one.
And she's like, this one. And I'm like, nope, still don't know what you're talking about. Like, what color is it?
It's green. Well, they're all green.
It's the purple one with the blue lines. Okay. Yeah. Dig up, move to back of house. Got it.
Can do. Yeah, that's even with my interest and a little bit of insight, that's about my knowledge as well.
Yeah, I wish I knew more. My My knowledge of plants is like it's just pot.
Well, I mean, kind of similar, but the one that I asked the most about and just like think is one of the most fascinating is just cloning plants. 'Cause you
Mhm.
can clone plants, and it's just like, I mean, it's different
Yeah.
from like human genetic cloning, where you would just like cut part of the plant and then plast it to another root, and then you grow a new plant. But it's just like, that's so cool. You can
Yeah.
just do that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I have no knowledge or experience of doing that. Yeah, I think there's so much stuff. You know what really fascinates me about plants these days, and it takes me back to like my sophomore year of biology in high school. What really is cool to me is genetics and like crossbreeding. They
oh
have
yeah.
like they have
Yeah.
like grapples. It's like a grape and an apple that's breeded
Yeah.
together,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it like smells like a grape, but it tastes like an apple, and it's crunchy, and it looks like an apple, but it
Yeah.
like smells like a grape, and it's kind of grape.
And now more than just crossbreeding, they're able to DNA splice certain genes from plants into other plants. So they
Yeah,
can put things into like a banana so it lasts longer, or something to like reduce to improve the color, so you get like the red color from like tomato and you put it into another plant and you can do crazy sci-fi shit with it. It's so cool.
I just want to say
Yeah.
hey to Roy, who's joined us. He's our third company owner. Hey, Roy.
What's up?
He's
Oh
here.
no, I was trying to
Watch-
look cool. I don't think it worked.
He's monitoring us.
That's
Make
all
sure
right.
we
Don't
stay-
worry. I haven't asked about anything I wasn't supposed to ask about. I'm all good.
Nah, not yet.
Yeah.
Um,
No. It's funny. I was teasing.
Yeah, no, man, you don't have to worry. Like, every now and then somebody will be like, "Hey, I want to show you something, but you're gonna have to sign an NDA for it." And I'm like,
We're in the NDA section of the show. Everyone in chat.
you know, no, and they're all like, "Oh, but you're gonna have to sign an NDA. Is that okay?" And I'm like, dude, at any given time, I'm under like 2 or 3 NDAs. So like, yeah, just hand over the stupid form.
Yeah.
You know?
I'll take it. I'll put an X on there. That's me.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know who this buttlord is, but I'm supposed
that's
to
to
give.
me. That's
Oh.
directly that's directed at me.
Well, then I'm giving a shout out to that buttlord over there because he is a top tier nerd and probably an internet friend just waiting to happen. So, you know, yeah.
No.
But
no.
the
She's a cool
waiting to
person.
happen part is contingent on one thing later coming actually up very, very soon in the show.
Your butt.
Um,
Oh, exciting.
So we have gone wide and far afield
Oh, I love it.
today, which has been
Yeah.
super fun. But I have to bring us back to a little bit that I like to call the 5 questions.
Okay.
The 5 questions.
The 5
Okay.
questions. So if you guys are unfamiliar, and for any first timers in the audience, the 5 questions are a series of, 5 questions that I prepared before the show that have nothing to do with anything we've talked about so far, and just giving them a real quick
Great.
look over on my cue
I'm so
card over
excited.
there.
Excited.
Yeah, actually, no, they don't have anything to do with anything we've talked about so far.
I was gonna say, with the eclectic nature, that might be hard to do.
Oh,
with every.
trust me, I got
But
this.
let's hear it.
So,
all right, lay it on me. I'm ready.
question number 1.
Suspense.
What is your favorite coffee beverage?
Oh, easy. Dirty chai tea latte with espresso.
Oh, I work at a Starbucks, sir. I am very well aware.
Oh yeah, no, but it needs at least 2 shots of espresso, 2 to 4, because it like kind of adds to the spice. There's not that much espresso. Usually it's like milkier or creamier, and no, I need the spice in espresso. That's where it's at.
I have a 2-part answer. If somebody's making it for me, a shot of espresso. If I'm making it for myself, just regular drip coffee black.
Word. There's nothing wrong with either of your answers. Just Stu's are more correct. No, man, because I'm a black coffee or a straight espresso guy. So, although in the summer months I do enjoy an iced Americano.
Americano's good.
And I do dabble with making my own cold brew at home.
I have a side tangent that's related to Starbucks and cold coffee and university. This one time I was at SCAD, the Savannah College of Art and Design in Savannah, Georgia, and I was just sitting in the art history hall. And I was just sitting on the bench waiting to speak with a professor of mine. I was a senior at the time. He was teaching freshmen, so it was like I was some kind of TA or something, or the next professor about to walk into the room or something. And some SCAD students that had like lanyards on and they had cameras and stuff. They're like, "Yeah, we're with the student diversity population department," and I'm like, "Me, diversity? I'm just a white guy." Like, "Yeah, well, we want to take a photo of you with like a foreign exchange student, like having a conversation for our website or whatever." And they're like, "We'll give you a Starbucks card if you do it." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." And they sit this Chinese girl down next to me, and we just like start having a fake conversation. And I'm like, "Ha ha ha," you know. They're like, and they take some photos, and they're like, "Thanks, here's your Starbucks card." And so later, I was downtown and I walk by the Starbucks, and it's like 102 degrees out, and it's like a swimming pool because it's Savannah. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna spend this $5 Starbucks card on a cold brew at Starbucks. So I walk in and I get it, and I go outside and I take one sip of it, and I'm like, this is so terrible. I just dropped it in the trash can. Uh, I don't like cold coffee.
What's question 2?
Okay.
Question 2.
I was like, there's nothing I can say to add to this story or conversation. So question number 2, what's the last movie you watched?
Ip Man 4.
That's good. That's a good movie.
It wasn't
Netflix
very
has
good,
been,
but it was a good end.
yeah, Netflix has been recommending that to me, but I haven't watched 1 through 3 yet.
You should start with 1 and then watch 2 and then watch 3 and then get into a casual fight with somebody and be like the master and then watch 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You can
Last
skip the
movie.
casual fight.
I intended to. You know, it's not maintaining proper social distancing.
Yeah.
I guess that's a good point.
Tussle with the cats. Go in on the tussle. Have your cats enact it, man.
Yeah, no. Invite them over for a casual tussle in the Fisti-Fluffs demo.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. The last movie. It's been a minute because I haven't gone to the theaters since like.
Oh, is that an in theaters question?
No.
Or is that just, like...
No, I mean like I'm assuming you just meant like movie on.
Oh yeah,
film or
if
whatever.
I like to I try to be very specific with my language. So if I had meant like a theater movie, theater would have been in the question.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
but I say that just because there's a really cool theater, Central Cinema here, and that's where I was like watching a lot of movies before, but now they're not
In the
showing
before
much
times,
in the yes, the before 4.
Pepperidge
But
Farm remembers.
I mean, yeah. I don't know if this is accurate, but I went and rewatched a lot of Ghibli, and I ended it watching Nausicaa, which is, I mean, that's all of the Ghibli's good. Well, it's all great. But
Are you
yeah.
all reading this chat?
Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind.
In the before.
Well, so it starts with Butt Lord.
Oh
and
yeah,
then
no,
Ed goes, top tier
Oh,
yeah, because I referred to him as a top tier nerd, and because he was the butt lord, so he's a top tier butt apparently. I mean, I didn't explicitly say that, but if that's how you choose to interpret it, that's on you.
No, yeah, that's a friend. One of my old screen names was Butt Lord, and it went from Butt Lord to like just
Cat
dumb.
Lord.
Well, yeah, and so it was Butt Lord, and then I was working a job, and I had to help with the stream, and they were like, "We don't want you to have Butt Lord on screen," and I was like, "Fine, I'll be Cat Lord," and so that it stuck with it since.
That's right. You were Butt Lord, then you were Butt Lord 2.0.
Yes. Yep.
Man.
Anyway,
I forgot about that.
And when I was young, I just used to use the name of magic cards that I liked.
Tom, this was like 3 years ago. We weren't really much younger.
Yeah. No, I was an adult.
When I was that relative age, I took names of villains from animes that I liked.
Oh,
Oh, fancy.
okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
Nausicaa, Valley of the Wind. Final answer.
Cool. All right. Question number 3. What is your favorite sport to watch?
Baseball. Well, it's my favorite sport to go to. Um, favorite sport to watch is like, um, I really like the Tour de France and cycling races. I'm a big cyclist myself, so I really enjoy watching those. Mostly just because it's all about the stupid drama.
Yeah.
Oh, so and so dropped out of the race, or so and so's wearing the yellow jersey and they have no business wearing it. It's like, ah.
And then, of course, there's always that person who gets like too close to the racers to like snap a selfie and causes like that big wreck,
Oh yeah.
which looks super painful, but significantly
Oh, yeah.
less painful than saying thank you for the follow, Roy. So this has been like the last couple days have been me trying to figure out how to like segue from this conversation into this conversation.
Well, hold on. I just a quick answer for mine because I don't really watch any. There is one sport I do actually put on at least a couple times a week,
Is it
and
blood
that is
sport?
nope. It is Gels Marble runs,
I love the
marble
Marble
racing.
Olympics.
Yeah,
Ah.
the marble races are very weirdly entertaining and very fun to
Yeah, I
watch.
love those too.
I am unaware of this.
It is just someone who sets up these absurdly like elaborate like almost like the Hot Wheels tracks that you would make
Yeah.
just for marble races. And
But
he'll
he
like
does
have a
even more. He's got like Olympic
yeah,
tournaments, and he's got like Winter Olympics where there's like a ski jump,
yeah,
and he's got the outdoor dirt downhill race. You got to check it out. It's Jelly's Marble Races, I think is
Yeah.
what it is.
yes,
Uh,
yeah.
He's on YouTube. Yeah.
you'll have to send me a link on this
Yeah,
one.
I will. Yeah.
It's very
I'm gonna just do this right now.
Yeah, I'm
but
super down for like
yeah,
all sorts of absurdity on the internet.
marble racing.
Oh
Clearly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll get you one of the dirt track ones. He
Oh,
has
hell
some
yeah.
other ones that are like he's got this British commentator and they like with the marbles he goes, "Oh, the Mercedes is coming around the outside and Team Lamborghini is." And it's
yeah,
like they're not Lamborghinis, they're marbles.
yeah, yeah. The whole thing is like they have announcers and they like will commentate over the whole thing and
Oh,
it's marbles.
this is
Like
that sounds so great.
Oh, the
it,
sand run. This is it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I'm a
yeah, drop that in Discord because as Roy just found out, I don't have links turned on in my chat
oh,
because every now and then follow bots show up and
yep, yep,
yeah,
yep, yep.
yeah.
so
But anyway, what did you want to connect that to?
oh
Sports?
well, no, I just we were talking about just something. I just made a quick segue into thanking Roy because he just
Ah.
followed me. So,
Mm.
but question number 4: what's your favorite book?
That's a
Mm.
really tough one.
Well, maybe
I have a
not your
lot of
favorite book, but we'll just go with one of.
One of favorite books.
Fahrenheit 451.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my bookshelf real quick.
You know, I'm a big fantasy
What
fan. I mean, I like the Lord of the Rings books.
they are. Would it be inappropriate to say the Satanic Bible?
I mean, I
No,
don't care.
certainly not.
So yeah, that if I had to pick a favorite book, it's the whole point with the Church of Satan is that it's like it's more humanist than anything. It's
Oh, I
power.
am I am aware
Yeah,
of the Church of Satan.
yeah. Quick plug to the Church of Satan.
I was in a VR chat room the other night with some friends in the virtual reality art community, and
Yeah.
we were all gathering. We're all standing in this big old circle, and everybody's like, "So what are we here to do?" And I'm just like, "Oh yeah, we're just here to summon Satan." And everybody just like just complete deadpan, just like, "Yeah, we're gonna summon Satan." And everybody just kind of
Yeah.
like went quiet, and Chroma in chat was there, and it was funny. And then everybody just kind of like laughed, and we're all like, "Oh, Tom!" And then one person was like, "Really?" And I
Read
was
it,
like,
Tom.
yeah. And I was like,
Like, yeah, if you can, if you know how to.
yeah, I mean, like, I haven't read the Bible myself, so I don't know. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, man, hey, person's favorite book's going to be a person's favorite book. I mean, if a person comes on here and gets that question and they say Twilight, I'm just going to
So be
shrug
it.
and go with it. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. You know.
and
yeah.
then question
It's-
how much I actually knew about that person. Yeah, Saint just wants to have fun.
Also wants you to have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
be kind to other people, strangely enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the whole shtick really is like for people potentially in chat that don't is that it's help your community, be the best person. Don't really rely on other organizations to do it. You have the power to make your community better and make your life and the people's lives around you better. So do it. So
Well,
yeah, you are right, Chroma. Yeah.
So, speaking of making other people's lives better, Trace, this last question is actually for you. And Stu, you get off easy on this one because this is the question we talked about earlier.
Oh, got it.
So, Trace,
Yes.
this is Pumpkin. Can you put her in the game?
Oh
Where's-
shit. Oh shit. Oh, that's such a good fur pattern.
Wow.
She is a long-haired calico. She
Okay.
never really grew up much past kitten size, and she sounds like a screaming child.
Okay. The sounds would be harder.
Well, I mean,
I
like,
love
I'm
the
not
fur
worried
pattern.
about. I'm not worried about
So-
that. But
We've been
yeah.
talking about doing the calico fur pattern.
Well, yeah, I have wanted to do that fur pattern, and so, it's gonna. I am leaning yes. I don't know if I have the power at the very moment. I mean, I have the power to make it, but yeah, I would want to.
Oh, yay! And now she's standing there.
Yeah. So, but for sure, send me some reference photos, some multiple. Not that there's that one. Send me a couple of different angles for
Yeah.
the fur pattern itself.
Yeah, this was
And-
just the nicest one. I took it with the portrait mode on my
looks great.
iPhone.
Yeah.
Mm.
And yeah.
This was she was looking pensive, and so I had to take it
yeah.
because usually she looks derpy as fuck. So when she was
Yeah.
looking kind of serious, I was like, yeah. Patrick is
Yeah.
Very
probably he's kind of mean mugging me over there off camera right now because I didn't put his picture up here. But like, no offense to him, he is a black cat, and I love black cats. But
Yeah,
you know, she is the most unique looking of all of our cats.
definitely. And like there is as much as all cats are wonderful and special, I don't want to make the roster just multiple black cats with different names. I mean, you can make your own, but that fur pattern, we do not have a calico fur pattern in the game. And most cats, as we have mentioned earlier, are inspired from our personal and friends' cats. So the tentative answer is yes, and then I can respond back to you with a final answer once at getting it, just checking our boxes with it, and you can let your fans know that she'll be in it. So, but well, I have to kind of check a couple things, but
Oh, sure. Like I literally just asked that question kind of as a joke, and I didn't even
no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like I meant it as a joke, but at the same time, like didn't.
But really though.
Yeah, but really though. And then I was like, well, dang, I need to have a picture. And I was just like, well, I could just like put something up in Streamlabs, whatever. But like, that's no fun. Not when I could like really quickly just model a photograph and then have something I can actually pick up and be like, but look how cute she is.
I love the presentation of that too. I didn't know what to expect.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
because if you had said no, I was gonna cut over to like this camera angle and be like, look, guys, how can you say no to this cat?
Can you if you toss that, will it like fly?
Yeah.
That is.
Have you ever like thrown the mug at one of your guests?
I did earlier today.
Oh.
Ha!
Beautiful. But yeah.
And then I just go, and there's a brand new mug.
But yeah, I don't know if you have
Unreal.
Yeah, I don't know how much you've saw most of it. We have a couple models to mix up the cat variation, and the main one, the first one that we got in was a domestic long hair. So that we have the model already, so it's really just making a new mask for it, and
Yeah.
then like tweaking a sound profile that we already have for it. So
If you want, I can get you some audio too. I just have to pretend like I'm talking on the phone because that's when she's the
okay.
most vocal.
To make our, because I think he might still be in here. Sad Tree is, if he put best butt in chat, is been our sound lord, and to make his job a little easier, I think we'll probably try to tweak a profile we already have that sounds similar, so that we don't have to just add new
Yeah.
stuff. So, because like we're trying to like wrap up and close up some of that, getting a new texture, like that's just little bit, but getting the new sound profile implemented with everything, that's a little bit more. But Sad Tree, think you might have one that would match a screaming child cat? Sick. Awesome.
A
There you
screaming
go.
child cat.
Yeah,
Great.
it's the best way because her normal sound sounds like just somebody going ah ah like so. Just imagine this face ah. Except like pitch it up a little bit because she's teeny, but
Yeah.
yeah all yeah, I mean how it goes. Like all cats sound unique, but like
Oh yeah.
man, until we had like this specific set, they I did not understand how wide that spectrum was.
Mm.
You
Yep.
know, like
Yep.
yeah, she sounds like a screaming child. Zoe sounds like if a cat could have smoked like a pack a day of cigarettes for their entire life. So she's got like that, like she sounds
Yeah.
really great. Don't get me wrong, but it's just like yeah, kinda.
No.
Then like
Like,
yeah,
so Sausage was a foster cat with his brother and his sister. Um, he, they were all kind of like Maine Coon Tabby mixes. He was a little bit more brown than the rest of them, and had like, I thought he was like, his coat was really pretty, but the other two were great. And the his sister sounded almost identical. His brother, on the other hand, I am convinced has a demon inside of him, because his meow is like the roughest, deepest thing. Even as a kitten, it was like meow, meow. I was just like I like asked the vet about it too. I was like, "Is this okay?" It's just like, we've checked, he's fine.
did you ever
Does have
play
a
it
really
backwards
weird
and see
meow.
what it sounded like?
I have recordings. I should do that. Double check on that. Oh yeah, his name is Caesar. I don't know what's up with him. It's so, I'm worried.
Well, I mean, hey, vet said he's fine. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
well, guys, like, dude, it has been so great having you on. I
That's
mean,
been really fun.
like
yeah,
I
a lot of fun.
expected a fun talk between like cat enthusiasts, and got like a completely different but equally excellent talk. And
Hell yeah.
yeah, like, dude, I haven't like talked like tech design or tech art even in a moderate level in way too long. So,
I'm
well,
glad we
gentlemen,
could deliver.
well, hell yeah,
Yeah.
man, dude, it wasn't deliver. It was like it was like if like Domino's showed up to your house, or a quality pizza establishment showed up at your house with like dinner when you didn't order anything, and it's just like, what? And it's like, yeah, it's for you and it's all paid for. Here you go. So,
It's
Yeah.
like that old SNL skit where Kristen Wiig comes up to the door, and I forget who's on the other side, and she goes, "You just won $10,000." And the delivery guy comes up, and he's like, gives him his pizza, and he gets like free cheese balls or something. And the guy's like, "No way, free cheese balls!" Kristen Wiig's over here and like, "You won $10,000." He doesn't care about the money. He's like all into the cheese ball. He's like, "Honey, we got free cheese balls."
sounds like a Pete Davidson sketch almost, because like that's the kind of thing you can see him like getting like super jazzed
It was
about.
like
But
2006.
I love that you think that's old SNL.
Well, I mean, Pete Davidson would have been on it.
No, he wouldn't have, but like old SNL for me also wouldn't have had Kristen Wiig.
Well, I
Yeah.
guess, yeah. I mean, it was like it's over a decade ago, so
I haven't
it's not
watched
like
SNL regularly in over 20 years.
yeah. I mean, I'm about the same. I watched it for like 4 years when I was too young, and my parents were like, "You shouldn't be watching this because it's late and you should be sleeping." And I was like, "Whatever." And then when I was old enough, I was like, "This is stupid."
Yeah, I was a Norm Macdonald Weekend Update guy, and then they
Mm.
fired him and switched over to Colin Quinn, and then I stopped watching shortly thereafter. So, but either way, gentlemen,
Bef-
thank you so much for
Before
being
we
here.
wrap up,
Uh-oh.
just really quick, so pumpkin, how do you spell that?
Punkin.
Thought so. Okay, that's what I was thinking. I just want to make sure I got it.
Her original name was Monkey, and we hated it. So we renamed her Pumpkin because she was Halloween colored, and it was Halloween time.
Mm.
Yeah.
So,
but you spiced it up a little bit.
yeah, and officially her full name is Pumpkin Zanzibar.
Of course, cats always need full names.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Frey and Zoe have Misty's last name. Pumpkin is Zanzibar, and Patrick has my last name.
Yeah, naturally. Yeah.
Mhm.
Sausage Link Gordon, and Jellybean is Jellyford Benjamin. That's his full name. So,
Nice.
I've never heard that one before.
You haven't heard Jellyford Benjamin? Yeah, that's his like his full. That's on like paperwork too.
Wow.
Yeah, that's his full name.
Hell yes. One of our ferrets, her name is Jill, and we've nicknamed her Jellybean. So,
Mm.
Perfect.
and then we have Action Jack.
Yeah.
All right.
And Peppermint, but that's actually just her name. Her name is just Peppermint. And we want her and Jack to get along better so they can be Pepper Jack.
Mm.
Oh, that's too good.
So,
All right.
pet owners, man, now that we have like thoroughly bored the crap out of your average Twitch viewer, I'm kidding. But, well, guys, again, thank you so much for being here. Aside from at Playfellow Games, where else can we get information and updates on Fisti-Fluffs?
The best location would be the Twitter, which is at Playfellow Games. We have a
Facebook page also that we do update regularly.
Yeah.
So you can find us on Facebook.
Playfellow.
We do have a YouTube page also.
Not updated
it's where
regularly, but we'll post.
No, it's not updated regularly.
Yeah.
And we do have a website, playfellowstudio.com, is where
Yep.
you can see kind of everything that's about our company and,
when
more about
when big announcements come out, that is where it will go as well. So
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's got our motto, which actually is play comes first. So the first thing we touched on was about like, good games don't have to fun games don't have to look amazing. They're fun just because they're fun. And that's exactly what we go for. And the website for Fisti-Fluffs, we have fistifluffs.com with a dash between the two words.
Where you can see some delightful video of the game and play.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, we've got GIFs and all sorts. Yeah. But
Well,
definitely the most reliable
place
is. I'm sorry, Trace. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, if you are interested in the game, the best place is the Twitter, and there are some big announcements we are working on that we just are being careful about because really cool shit, and we want the game to do well. So if you are interested, follow the Twitter and stay tuned.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, if you're watching on YouTube, just scroll on down a little bit. You're going to find all those links down in the description box. And while you're headed down that way, why not hit that subscribe button, maybe the bell icon next to it, hit that thumbs up, give it a like. But right now, though, so I'm going to take my moment and I'm going to say thank you to my wonderful studio audience for joining us today. Roy, thank you so much for that new follow. And Catlin, too. Thank you. And thank you everybody who's been in chat and just sitting there and talking with us and laughing with us, and probably at me for at least one thing or two. But other than that, everybody, just to let you know, we have one more show this week. It's going to be tomorrow, talking with Ewood 3D about their upcoming game Skim. That's going to be at 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And we're going to be taking off until Monday, because that is going to be the big 50th episode extravaganza. So I got to actually work through the weekend to make that happen. So don't worry, I'll be working that whole time. This has been That Tom Clancy Show. This has been Punkin, who may or may not appear in Fisti-Fluffs in the future. This has been a coffee cup. And I'll see you all tomorrow on That Tom Clancy Show. So until then, drink your water, wear a mask, have some vitamins, be kind to each other, and have a good rest of your day. I'll see you all tomorrow.